Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the live daily extra. Thursday, the 12th of August. 2 days to go until Everton kick off their Premier League campaign for the 21-22 season. The story we are talking about today, it looks like Denzel Dumfries is off to Inter Milan. Sky Italia saying it'll be announced very shortly. Fabrizio Romano has gone with the same thing as well. So it seems as though Denzel Dumfries has chosen to move to Inter Milan rather than Everton. What can we do? What can we do? We're going to have to just switch to our next target, I guess. There was always a possibility that this would happen. Everton tried to get the deal done before the Euros, couldn't, and it's dragged on all summer. I still thought up until about a week ago that he'd end up here still because he hadn't gone anywhere else and we were still in the fight. But it seems as though Inter Milan have won the race for him. So fair play, off we go. We onto the next one, isn't it? So a little bit disappointed, but there is other options, and it's up to Marcel Brands now to come up with something. Everton, in my opinion, can't start the season with only really Seamus Coleman as the right back. And then we need a new one. I think Seamus needs to be the backup for it because I think he's still superb in certain games. I think he's I love him. He's a fantastic footballer for Everton, being a great character as well. Great character and to have around a place and all of that. Brilliant professional. But I think 33 soon. We need a quick right back that can get up and down and, hopefully improve us on that side, or certainly get in and give James Coleman competition at the very least. So Marcel Brands has got work to do and needs to get on with it, really. Celtic Vape says, afternoon all. Toffee Boy says, hope you're well. James Dunlop, afternoon boys. Neil Kilburn says, second nailed on transfer down the drain. Only plus is that the majority of mid-table teams haven't got any better than us compared to last season. Fair comment. I don't think many teams have done amazing business. Not loads of players have gone anywhere at the minute. Villa look like they've done decent business, but whether that balances out across the season, you have to wait and see. But looks like they've signed some decent players, definitely. Leon Bailey, one of them. But we'll just see. There's still, what are we on? There's still 19 days left of the transfer window. So you've got to hope that Everton can pull something out the fire, definitely. ME1G says, could the club bring in money with Goodison Park naming rights, or would that be sacrilege? Asking because I saw an article saying Swansea had sold the naming rights for 10 years. Everton could do that. It depends who would want to take the naming rights. How much that would bring in, I'm not sure. You have to look at what the market dictates the price to be. I guess we're saying, could we not just give it to one of Alisher Usmanov's firms and say that it's the Megaphone Stadium or it's the USM Goodison Park or something? But I think Everton are trying to not put all their eggs in one basket with Alisher Usmanov's companies. I don't think they want to keep going down that well, basically, because it arises suspicion, I think, for want of a better word. So Everton, I'm sure they're looking at every way to get some funds into the FFP spreadsheet so that they can spend on the other side of it. Truvera says, looks like a disappointing window. Mr. Dorf says, hopefully, although I'm not convinced, we've got a list. And we just move on to the next right back out there. Brendan says, worrying times if we go with Coleman as first choice and Kenny as his replacement, I'm afraid. Yeah, I'd be disappointed if that was it, Brendan. If we were saying they're the two, I would. As much as I love Seamus Coleman, I haven't seen enough from John Joe Kenny that leads me to believe he is good enough to take Everton where they want to go. Celtic Vapes, I've just been reading an article saying we're a club full of deadwood and lack identity. What's your opinion? I don't know whether we're a club full of deadwood. There is deadwood there. There's players there that we're not getting any value out, but we're paying big money to. Fabian Delph is not giving Everton any kind of return, is he? We've got Alex Iwobi hasn't lived up to what we hoped. Still could, he's only young, but at this moment in time, we're not getting enough from him, talking goals and assists. We've got Andre Gomez, who we all wanted to sign after his year on loan, but obviously it's not gone how any of us wanted. He's had a bad injury as well. I've read an article before that said Andre Gomez, Alex Iwobi, Fabian Delph, John Joe Kenny, Everton, Moise Keane, James Rodriguez. Everton are listening to offers for all of those players. They're all available. If people don't come in, what can we do? Do we lack an identity? Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. I do. Whether Rafa Benitez can give Everton an identity, I'm sure he'll think he can. And we have to go with that. So, Johnny says, get the likes in. Nice one, Johnny. Gavin Johnson says, I can see Ross Barkley making a deadline loan return. Sad that he will be the transfer highlight of the window. Okay. Ross Barkley is a footballer with attributes that Everton don't have, but he's also a footballer that has been flawed so far in his career. He's 27. He gets into little things off the pitch he shouldn't really at his age. His decision making ain't great, and he left the club under a cloud, didn't he? You know, and I think that's the issue for a lot of people. But he does have good attributes that Everton need. He's a ball-carrying midfield player, which we haven't got. Can shoot with both feet. Gets the odd goal. So maybe deadline day return for Ross Barkley mightn't be the worst thing in the world. But I know for certainly a section of people, they don't want him back. So, Contract says, I want Rafa to do well, but this financial fair play bollocks will ruin his chance at Everton. How can the top six sign anyone they want for any price, yet mid-table teams and below suffer? Yeah, it is nonsense. I mean, the reason why we're talking and the treacherous six or whatever can still sign players is because they generally bring in more money than other people. Where the issue for me is that we've got a very, very wealthy owner and his mate, and they can't put more money into our football club to help us because the rules don't allow, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. If you're not lumping a debt on top of the club, then you should be able to put money into the football club. The rules are ridiculous and they need changing. And I think they will change it. They just mightn't change quick enough for us at the moment. Oliver Makinson says, if you were to pick one Liverpool player to play at Everton, who would it be and why? Mo Salah, I would pick. Because he scores a lot of goals and he's a real threat. Mane's brilliant as well, but probably Mo Salah would be the one I would take. Ned, if you had to pick one, who would you go? Alisson, shout. Fair play. Toffee Boy says if we don't get a right back, it's sacrilege, to be honest. Nico Bellic from GTA 4 is in the comments. That's great. Delamere Bear says we're Everton, we know what we are. Sonny says, is there any link to right back so far? Well, Dumfries has been all summer. We've had Max Aarons linked. We've had Aurelio Buta linked. We've had Diego Dalot linked. So there is links out there. There's right backs out there. But it's what deal, if Everton can do any deal, they're able to do. Dennis says we have no one to blame but ourselves for FFP. While I do subscribe a bit to that, Dennis, I don't fully subscribe to it because there is definitely there's definitely looking for the word, a fault for want of a better word, in the system of the Premier League profit and sustainability rules. There's a flawed set of rules for it that only really helps the top 6 clubs, the big 6, the treacherous 6, the scummy 6, whatever you want to call them. It only really helps them because their income streams are so much higher than what Everton's are, and people like Aston Villa and Leeds United and things like that. So, you know, you have to be, if you've got money to put into your football club to help your club, you should be allowed to, as long as you're not saddling the club with debt. And that isn't the case at the minute. Last of the Corinthians says the overlap show was more like the top 6 show. The part 2 is more general, mate. That was the first part. There's a second part, and that's got more. I think I have more to say in the second part as well, to be fair. But I haven't seen the final edit, so. Wormy Spoon says Aurelio Buta, yeah. Johnny gave up on Dumfries a little while back. He clearly wants to go to Inter, so hopefully Everton have other options. I like them at the Euros, but don't necessarily think he'd be amazing in the Prem. Lee Dyke says, looks like another Sidibe or Cuca Martina as a stopgap, but you never know. Could also pick up a Championship Division 1 player that turns out to be the next 60k. Well, yeah, there is good players in the Championship for sure. Are they quick enough? Well, that's what you monitor them for and check the data. But there's still good players to be bought from the Championship, definitely. Nico says, I've been saying for weeks, let's get Tony Hibbert out of retirement. Victor can't wait for the season to end. Fair enough. Josh says, what do you think about Gbamin pre-season? Personally, a good player who will prove our in midfield. Also, the signings we've made improve the squad, just need a right back. Yeah, I agree with all that. The signings have improved the squad. Gbamin has looked good, without a shadow of a doubt. But we do need a right back. There's no question about it. We need more quality in the squad as well. We can't, you know, we definitely do need more quality, but we need a right back. Delamere says Tottenham are not a big rich club. Maybe they haven't won a league title in over half a century and have never won a European title. Yeah, Spurs are a big club, but that in terms of, I've seen people going on about Calvert-Lewin and all that. I don't see any kind of step up coming to Spurs at this moment. A couple of years ago, without a shadow of a doubt. Toffee boy would take a few loans from PSG. Lee Dyke said, let's be honest, no one wants a Phil Neville at right back, but he turned out all right, so there's still hope. Tom Gibbons says, hi Baz, what's your honest opinion on our 3 signings? I'm happy with Graham Begovic, but not so much Townsend. I actually think all 3 are fine, Tom. I really do. I think Townsend will surprise a lot of people this season. I think he'll be a good signing for Everton. I really do. Damari Gray, if he can get any kind of level of consistency out of him, could be a brilliant signing at 1.5 million. His issue's being consistency. He's 25 now. Can he do it? I don't know. But I tell you what, they give us something we didn't have last season, a pair of them. So that can only be a positive. Adam says, do you think the reason why Benitez took the job is because he was happy to work with the current squad, aiming to get more out of them and be sued in the transfer market? I think he took the job because he knows it's a big club. It's a club that is trying to go places. It's a club that's building a new stadium on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey. It's a club that has got money if it's allowed to invest it. And for all we know, those conversations with Rafael Benitez and Farhad Moshiri and whoever else was in the room might have consisted of, listen, we know that this summer's going to be tricky because we're trying to get players out the squad. There's issues with profit and sustainability, whatever. But if we can negotiate this summer, moving forward, we will back you like we've backed other managers. And that might have been enough for him. As a manager, you do expect to come. You can't expect to go into football clubs nowadays, I don't think, as a manager and have 11 of your own players. Not going to happen. So you have to go in and you have to improve the players you have already, and then you add to it with your players. And maybe if you stay there and do all right, in 3 years you've got your own team. But every manager worth his salt, every coach, whether you are coaching children, you're coaching teenagers, you're coaching men, women, whatever it is, at any level, as a coach, you should look to improve that team or those players. And why should the Premier League be any different? Why should a Carlo Ancelotti come in and go, I want 15 world-class players, and then you'll see how good I am? You need to be able to coach. And I'm just picking Carlo's name up because he was here. It could be anybody. Nuno at Tottenham. Why should he go to Spurs and go, I want 12 new players? Then it'll be my team. You can't judge me when I've got players that Josie had and players that Pochettino had. That isn't how football works now. You've got to be able to go in and improve footballers and get the most out of what you've got. And have the Everton managers over the last few years got the most out of the tools they've got? I don't think they have. Will Rafa Benitez? I don't know. I hope so. He's a workaholic. He looks to squeeze everything. He looks for small wins, marginal gains. And that might be what Everton need. Don't know. But he's here at the moment, and we have to back the team at least, don't we? Toffee Boy says, look what happened at Spurs when they got money. They didn't really spend it very well. Could happen to Villa. Could easily happen to Villa. Andy Campbell says, good day and bring on the new season. RCO2 says, only right back who seems good enough to push us to Europe is Baku. We just need a right back that can get up and down the line. Dalot is an improvement. Let's be honest, the right back's not going to get us into Europe, are they? But they're going to give us a better balance in the side, which overall could help us. That's all we're looking at. Carl says, good afternoon. Looks like Keane has removed. Looks like Keane removed from the Fantasy Premier League app. Something they know that we don't. No, I don't think so. Not at the moment, anyway. He could go at any time. His agent's desperately trying to move him on, so he could go at any time. Keith Powell said, this particularly disappointed losing Dumfries' signature. Felt he was perfect with what we wanted, and I'm also sure Marcel Brands will be gutted too. Matt Gibson says, we've needed the right back for 3 years. Inexcusable from Brands. Negligent and unacceptable. Get a right back or get a new job. Saying that, I can't wait for Saturday and feel like a kid on Christmas Eve. Cheers, Matt. Keith says, we have players who you'd call Deadwood. Delph, Tosin, Gomez, Kenny, Moyes, Keane, Iwobi. Getting Barkley back to Goodison would be Deadwood before he kicks a ball. All opinions, Keith. A lot of people still rate Ross Barkley. Tom says, don't see us getting a work permit for Buta. He's Portuguese. So, I think it obviously does need a work permit because we've never had to do that, have we? But obviously because of Brexit, you'd have to get one. But I think the only issue, you're right, the only issue is not playing in a top 5 league, is he? So therefore that would be difficult. It just depends whether Everton could convince someone that he's a top talent. Could be interesting. But there's other right backs, isn't there? I'd go and get Dalot now from United. Now that Dumfries is gone, I'd see if United will loan Dalot out for the season. Throw an option to buy, an obligation to buy even. Only 21, I think. 21, 22. So, Valdi also says, wouldn't surprise me if we saw a late push for Aarons, considering he hasn't moved anywhere. They want big money for him now. 25, 30 million, I think. Astro says Dumfries isn't the only right back out there. On to the next one. There should always be more than one target. What will you be paying attention to at most at Goodison on Saturday? For me, it'll be the body language of the players. If they aren't all in it, it'll quickly show once that crowd starts to roar, or conversely goes quiet. Cheers, Baz, keep up the boss work. Nice one, Nick. Yeah, listen, it'll be interesting. The players aren't going to be able to walk around that pitch. I saw it with only 6,000 in the ground against Wolves. the difference it made that, well, it was no coincidence they ran more that night than they'd ran at any point in the season. So there you go. John says, I agree with you, Baz, about Townsend, but Damari Gray's a lazy player who'll stroll around all day. I guarantee people will get really wound up by him. Mate, you might be right. You may be right, but he's also a quick player on the break, isn't he? He's got quick feet. He can do, can score goals and things like that, create goals. He's a little bit of a wild card, I guess. And I think you'd always need those kind of players as well. Stephen Gibney says, hi, Baz. Hello, Stephen. Craig Taylor says, little off topic, but has anyone else not received their season ticket yet? Only 2 days to go and get worried now. Ticket offers helpline next to useless, a queue in 97 queues. Well, loads of people are phoning up over the season tickets. We've been down to Goodison this morning, me and Ped, and tested the electronic system. It worked perfectly. It worked like that. I'd say, to be honest, I'd say it was quicker than my season ticket card going into the ground whenever it was 18 months ago. It was instantaneous. You just tap. We're going to have a video out, but you literally just tap the contactless thing on the top and the turnstile, it lights up and you're through. So it should be fine for Saturday. Still get there early just to make sure, but it was working fine this morning. But obviously a lot of people are concerned, so they're going to be absolutely chocker, Craig. Delamere said physical ticket for the win. I have got a card as well, but I did get to use an electronic season ticket today and it was fine. June says, for me, I'd start Godfrey at right back, Keane and Mina in the middle until Everton get a specialist right back. Possibly. Tuti says, why did Kenny not get a permanent move to Schalke? Couldn't they afford him? No, they couldn't afford him. And this is what I didn't understand. Everton could have done a swap deal plus a little bit of money for Weston McKennie, who was at Schalke, who ended up going to Juve. We'd looked at him, we're interested in him. He fancied the Premier League. We could have put Kenny in a swap deal with some money. Only Marcel Brands will know why that didn't happen. Book says, Kenny reviving this season. You heard it first. Okay. Toffee Boy says, the problem with selling our players is the sky-high wages. Absolutely correct. James Dunlop says, subscribe if you are new to the channel, guys. Brilliant content on here. Thank you, mate. We are 30 off 53,000 subscribers. Just 30. So there's 400 of you watching. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. We do appreciate it. If you haven't hit the like button, we'd love you to hit the like button too. It's just nice. So thank you. XX Cam Ran Robbo says, Barkley is good, but he's lazy. Yeah. James says, my problem with Barkley is his decision making and his lack of awareness lets him down. That's why I'm not keen on bringing him back. Yeah, listen, there's other players out there who maybe Everton could go and get on loan who'd be better than Ross Barkley. Or if Everton could get some money, that you could go, Dennis Sakari, we've been linked with a little bit this week. That'd be a fantastic signing. Even looking at Matheus Nunes at Sporting, the way he travels with the ball, and he's only 22, I think, 22, 23. So he's obviously got 4 years on Ross Barkley, so you'd like to see him developing. Maybe he'd be a better option. But again, I think they want 17 million for him. So it's one of those. We might just end up grabbing 2 or 3 on loan on the, before the window shuts to boost the squad. And then if you do that, that way might put us in a much healthier position next summer to kick on. Because there's some top clubs who are carrying big squads at the moment. And there could be opportunity to go and nick a couple of those people. For Everton, that could really help us throughout the season. And then if we did do that and we got it, I've harped on about it a few times, but I'll just reiterate again. When Roberto Martinez came in, we'd only signed Alcaraz, Joel Robles, Aruna Kone, and we did have Gerard Deulofeu on loan. And that was the 4 players we'd signed, and a few players had left going in to the start, on deadline day. We'd already started the season and we'd had 3 draws. And on that deadline day, we sold Marouane Fellaini and we got Romelu Lukaku, Gareth Barry and James McCarthy. And it was a fantastic deadline day. And that came from nowhere, really. And so it can happen. Players that, if you could imagine getting someone of the calibre of Gareth Barry and Romelu Lukaku on loan again. It really would change Everton Football Club, the team for this season. So it can happen. A lot of big clubs have got bloated squads that they'll need players to go out the door on. And Everton have to try to take advantage of that if they can't buy the players. And that may, like I said before, that may help overall with FFP. But it'd be lovely to get a few of these players out the door as well and freshen that squad up again. 100%. Lee Dyke says Coleman in for average teams and shoehorn Godfrey in against the top 6. Can't do more than that. T Hunter says, why are we all so negative and worried? Yes, we still haven't got a right back, but we have a better squad than last year. As long as we keep our key players, we'll be fine. Okay. There can only be one, or there can be only one rather, says, I am not fearful of the performance in the league, but to miss out on both Bailey and Dumfries is poor. Still solid enough team, and I'd love a striking midfielder and right back. Yeah, it's gutting to miss out on players when you've invested a lot of time. And that's what the frustration will be. It'll certainly be the frustration from the fans, but it'll be the frustration from the scouting side as well. When you've done your work, you've got the data, you've got the actual, plan of what maybe you want to do with them. The player's shown an interest, which he did earlier on this transfer window, and now he's gone. So Panos says Calvert-Lewin is injured. No, Everton have put pitches out training today, so they expect him to sign. They expect him to play rather on Saturday. Rahman says, I thought Brands went to Holland and completed the deal with PSV. Maybe Ridley, Baku or Highsets could fit. Yeah, there was a lot of ITKs on social media claiming Brands had gone and completed the deal when he hadn't. I did say at the time as well that he'd gone home to see his granddaughter, his grandchild, so that's why he was in Holland. But he did go over and speak to them, and he thought he'd do it. He was hoping he'd be able to complete the deal in the week before the Euro started. That was when he was really pushing for it. But it didn't happen. And so once he had a good Euros, and now Inter Milan have got money from the Romelu Lukaku sale, they're able to do it. And we're still waiting for sales. So if you're him and Inter Milan, who are playing in the Champions League next season, are there for you, and this other team who want you and you were interested in going, are still dragging the heels all summer for you and saying, we haven't got the money yet, but if we sell someone, we can buy you. You're going to go with the sure thing. And the sure thing's offering Champions League football, albeit they are massively depleted and massively weaker with the players they've lost. It's still Champions League, and it's still a club ready to sign you right now. He'll want to get training and get ready. It is what it is. It's annoying, it's frustrating, it's disappointing. But Paul Comer's full of the joys today, says Gray and Townsend are terrible signings. Couldn't get in Leicester and Townsend couldn't find a club. I mean, to be fair, Townsend turned down 4 clubs, including Crystal Palace, who wanted to keep him. But fair players, listen, you're entitled to your opinion. The same way I'm entitled to mine. I think they make the squad better. You might think they're terrible. That's fine. We'll know at the end of the season, won't we? Adam Delaney. Someone's answering someone else. Chris says, could we end up playing Townsend at right back? Guy has an engine and gets up and down the pitch. I wouldn't want to do that. He's an attacking player, isn't he? Really. I'm not saying he couldn't go in and do. Listen, Iwobi played there last season. So, but Thomas says, my dad hasn't got the online one or the season ticket and he's beginning to get worried. Surely they'll get them out all in time. Otherwise, it's terrific work. Well, what's he applied for? Has he applied for a card or has he applied for a digital season ticket, Thomas? Because the digital season tickets are still being sent out today. So it could arrive any time today for him. If it's a card, I would try to speak to them. I know it's difficult and you end up waiting in a queue and all that, but if it's a card you've been waiting for, it should really be there now. Where are we? Arthur says, are you guys in touch with the... Over what, Arthur? What would you like to know if we got any questions? Dan James and Dalot on loan to buy, says Wormy Spoons. Wouldn't be the way... I mean, Dalot's very good. I think he's a very good right back, Dalot. Loads of potential. He was really good for Milan. Gets forward, gets goals. Dan James is a real live wire, isn't he? His final ball's not very good. We'd have to persist with that, and we'd have to just accept that. But he is really quick, and he's a threat, and people don't like pace, and he's got it in abundance. If you could get that final ball right, he'd be a handful. And maybe he just needs to play a lot. Maybe he needs a bit of better coaching. But those two on loan wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Abigail says she'd give Kyle John a go. Well, maybe, you know what, Abigail? Maybe what will happen is that as the season goes on and Kyle John plays for the 23s and does well and trains with the first team, maybe the manager and the coaching staff will go, we've got a lad here, why not see if he can do it? And maybe like a Huddersfield away, maybe. Although if John Joe Kenny's still here, he'll probably play, but maybe Huddersfield away, something like that. Or if Everton got through and then got another like lower league club at home, maybe Kyle John would be given a go to see what he can do. It's up to him. The same with any other young player who they think might have half a chance. It's up to them when they train with the first team to give everything and to make the manager sit up and take notice, because that's what you always try to do. Got to convince the manager you're worth a go, haven't you? James says exactly, Baz, who knows what happened late in the window. Yeah, definitely. Johnny says United are jerks to deal with. Yes, they are. They are. PSG supposedly having to get rid of 10 players. I saw that, Neil, yeah. Again, that's the FFP thing, isn't it? Josh says you guys can take Bellerin from us. No thanks, Josh. You have him. We've got enough of our own, mate, to try to contend with. Definitely. Paul Corrigan's just subscribed. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it, mate. Adam Charles says, does this channel hate Blues who don't get the vaccine? No. Entirely up to yourself what you do. I don't hate anybody who doesn't get the vaccine. I don't necessarily understand it because I think there's clear evidence that it helps, but I don't hate anyone. It's your body. You do what you need to do with it. So, yeah. So there you go. Maxter1878 says, I did have my doubts over Dumfries. He plays far too up the pitch for our liking, although I didn't admit it till now. Yeah, listen, he's an attacking fullback, isn't he? He was excellent in the Euros. He got goals, and we look at that attacking side. I do know, and I think maybe the Echo have even reported this as well, but we had it here on this channel as well, that Rafa Benitez had concerns over his defensive abilities. So, I don't know. I mean, you would have concerns over that, I think. You see someone bombing forward and not getting back. But, yeah. Yeah, Johnny says, heard a PSV fan say he's not a great defender and he could be a liability. And remember, he played wing back at the Euros. Sorry, that chat's just flew and gone. Kieran says, Baz, which is your preferred number one centre-back partnership? Would love to see a consistent. If I could choose, if they were all fit, Kieran, I would have Yerry Mina and Ben Goffrey. Because I think Yerry Mina's the best natural defender we've got in terms of heading things away, getting blocks in, bullying centre forwards, letting them know they're in a game. And I think that obviously the attributes Ben Godfrey's got, the pace, the power of him, and I think he'll get better and better. So that would be my preferred starting centre-back partnership. I don't know whether other people feel the same or they have a different pair, but that's who I would go with. And I think if Yerry Mina stayed fit, I don't think anybody would even question Yerry Mina. Terry says, how do you rate Brands overall? Surely his job is to move players out just as much as bringing them in. I'll be honest, Terry, I'm underwhelmed by Marcel Brands, I have to say it. I don't know whether it's all on him. I really don't know. All I can say is that he's been here 3 years. I don't feel like we've got the players we've needed in that time. The Premier League's about power, pace, mobility. And have we got enough of those in our squad? I'd say no. I think if he is, it's one or two ways, isn't it? It's either going the way he thought in terms of he's allowed to do what he wants, because that to me can be the only reason why he signed a 3-year deal, another 3-year deal. If I was somewhere and after 3 years I knew my contract was up and the management team or the owner or something like that was not letting me do my job, but they'd offered me a new contract, I wouldn't stay. Because I'd be thinking, you're not letting me do my job. I've got a consistent way to do things and you're not letting me do it. And it's proven in another country. So I wouldn't have stayed. That's if they're not letting me do the job. If they're letting me do the job, and that I thought they would, and I'm doing the job, and the evidence on the job I'm doing is what's there right now in front of us, then he's not very good at what he does, clearly. Because we're still shy on mobility. We're still shy on a right back. We've needed a right back the year he bought Luca Dean for the left back. We needed someone to push Seamus. We ended up getting Jibril Sidibe in the year later, which was fine, but that was a real admission that we needed a right back. It was a big admission. Sidibe's coming in with a loan to buy. Okay, he tailed off and we didn't end up signing him, but that was an admission. And then last summer we didn't even bother with it. And this summer, there's under 3 weeks left, and we still ain't got a right back. So that, to me, I don't know how you can even justify not getting that player in when that's the biggest, I would say, the biggest problem area. Now, he could sit here and turn around and go, but I tried to get Denzel Dumfries in and my hands are tied. That's fair enough. But there's other areas where we haven't. And only now, as we move forward, maybe deserves one more year. And what I mean by that is the end of this window, January, maybe. Although he doesn't like buying in January. So maybe it'll be easier to judge next summer. But he's got 3 weeks to bring in, if he can. And you're right, getting players out is just as much as the job as well. So yeah, that's where I am with it. I'm not overly impressed so far. And one of the other things I'm not overly impressed by is he doesn't speak. He speaks to Dutch press, and we get an interpretation of it. I think that's shocking. For me personally, there'll be loads of Blues who'll go, why should he? He doesn't need to. I think he does need to. I really think he does need to. Doesn't need to if everything's stable. If everything's stable and you've got a manager that has been in place for a few years and everything's, you can follow it and you can go, oh yeah, we're doing that, then okay, maybe he doesn't need to. I still would like to hear from him every year. But we're so muddled in our thinking, we're so muddled in our squad, we're so muddled, it seems, in what we're doing, that I'd like to hear from him. I'd like him to address us a couple of times a season at least, to say this is what we're trying to do, this is the type of player we're after, this is how the process is. Doesn't have to name people, doesn't have to come out and go, oh, we want Denzel Dumfries and we want Mathew Nunes and we want Rafael Lau. But he could come out and go, these are the type of players we're looking for. And this is the process behind it. Other people might have a different view on it. That's just my personal opinion on it. Hellier says, when will Richarlison be available for a start? Saturday. Stoll says, Baz, it's the cars that aren't being delivered and the solution is go to Goodison and get a paper ticket. I've got my card. Mine and my lad's card came weeks ago. And loads of other people I know all got their cards. So that's mad that people still haven't got the cards. I don't know what's happened there. So if that is the only solution though for this week, then that's just the way it is, mate. I worked in a ticket office for 11 years. It can be a tough job at times. There can be other stuff going on, especially if you're swapping a ticketing system over or anything like that, where third parties are involved sometimes, and it's they haven't got, well, for whatever reason, there can be technical issues. There'll be good people at the ticket office who are really working hard. It might not be their problem, but it is unacceptable. With the season kicking off in 2 days, everybody should have their season ticket, particularly a card. The technology thing, I can sympathise, because it can literally be a bit of code that goes wrong or whatever. But the physical cards, no, there's no real excuse why everybody hasn't got them. But like I said, me and my little fella's card, we've had them for over 2 weeks, might even be 3 weeks now. So that isn't good if you're waiting on a card. I think Thomas has said as well that his dad's applied for a card. Thomas has got his, but his dad hasn't got his. I'd contact them, Thomas. I really would, if you can, mate. It might end up being a paper ticket for the weekend. You might have to go there early on Saturday. I imagine it'll be busy. So yeah, not ideal, is it? Right, last couple before we go. MLW says it's negligence from Brands if we don't get a right back. Joe Briggs isn't holding back, thinks that Brands is a blagger. I am paraphrasing. Steve P96 says, wasn't Marcel Brands supposed to be good at spotting young players from South America, yet he hasn't signed one, just signed obvious players from the Prem and top clubs. Rejects. Yeah, Johnny agrees with my centre-back pairing. Holgate is small and lapses in concentration, and Keane turns like the Ark Royal. I still think with Mason Holgate, I still think there's a good player in Mason Holgate, but I do still believe that he could be a number 6 in midfield. I think a little bit like, and I'm not saying he's at that level or he's the same as this player, but the way that David Luiz played for Rafa Benitez in the 6 for Chelsea was probably his best form of consistency he's shown. And I think Mason Holgate, I think the problem with like a David Luiz at centre-back is he takes chances and he gets caught out, makes mistakes, and they're clean through on goal. And that's why he'll be sent off or whatever, or it's a goal. Whereas when he's in front of the back four and he can just get in and do his job and he's decent on the ball, he's quite good. And I think Holgate could be the same. I think Mason Holgate, if he's not, because he sometimes does lapse in concentration or he's a little bit sloppy, if he's got cover behind him, he's okay. It's fine, because I think he can do all the other things well. But I think a lot of people don't like the fact that he's the last line of defence and he's doing that. Like we've seen it with Ollie Watkins' goal at Goodison in April, didn't we? Trying to turn, do a Cruyff on him, and he took the ball off him and ran through. And, you know, he lunges in, which was mad, because if you'd have brought him down, he'd have been sent off. You know, you're better off if you've done that. Luckily for us, Watkins scored, and Holgate was able to stay on. So little things like that. That's just my opinion. Again, I could be wrong on that, but I just think when he played at Old Trafford under Duncan Ferguson in the 6, I thought he was good, and he played another couple of games. He dropped in there. But yeah, Kevin says is Brands' hands tied by the owner? Could be. Owner has a lot of say. But then that's another reason then, Kev, why I'd leave. If I wasn't able to do my job, I wouldn't stay. And especially not him. It's difficult. Listen, we've all had jobs where we want to do other things and we've got a manager that doesn't allow us to, or we're just the way the business is, we can't do it, or we've got ideas that are ignored. But in football, and when you're a director of football and he's got a high profile, it's a lot easier to get a job. And if he'd have walked out of Everton this summer and gone, my hands are tied, I can't do the job I want to do, he'd have walked into another club. He's on over £1 million a year or whatever he's on. He's on a big contract. So he's got a good name, and other clubs are sniffing around him. Manchester United were sniffing around him. So if I wasn't able to do my job because someone higher up is stopping me, I would leave. Because like I said, he'd get another job. Because I think otherwise you're getting judged harshly by other people for you not being able to do your job. And that's damaging your reputation. So I wouldn't have that. That's just me personally. Other people might go, no, he should stay. That's fine. I'm just talking from how my perspective is. I think I would have to go. If it was genuinely not being allowed to do my job, I would leave without a shadow of a doubt. Delamere Bears says, would never have David Luiz at centre-back. But CDM, he's a different beast. He's decent. Yeah, he is decent in sensitive. He is, as a 6, he's much better. Centre-back, he's a liability. I wouldn't have him anywhere near a team. But in the 6, in front of 2 centre-backs, I actually think he's quite good. Because he's mobile, he's good on the ball. And like I say, the odd time that he does take a chance, you've got someone behind you to dig you out of trouble. It's like when Alan, when he's playing the 6 and he leaves the 6 open and he's carrying the ball, or he'll take a chance. The minute he loses the ball, he's in trouble. They're in behind. If he was a centre-back, it'd be a goal. Where luckily for us at times, defenders get him out of trouble. But I think Holgate could do a job there. But there you go. It's one more refresh on our Patreon before we finish. Joe Briggs says, reckon Richie and Dom will play Saturday. Yeah, I do, Joe. I do. I think Everton want to get off to a good start. I think it's a tricky game. It could, Everton could quite easily put 3 or 4 past Southampton, but it could conversely go the other way because they're a threat on the break. Walcott will play and he's quick. You've got Adam Armstrong from Blackburn who's rapid. So we'll see. We will see. Right, the last couple here. Are we? Richie Dean says, morning Baz from San Diego. Love the new merchandise. Cheers. Nice one, Rich. Yeah, the new merchandise is good. The designers come back to us with some ideas that we'd had and have done a great job with them. I love them. Really good. Johnny Hodgson says, whining lot, aren't we? Up the toffees, man. Optimism is back. LA. Oh, we're Everton. Come on. And Keith Powell says, Brands not being allowed his freedom to build a system within the club and a new philosophy. He signed a new deal after being given assurances that his vision would be the way to move forward. Now Ancelotti dumps us. We still have Deadwood, loads of money, new manager who used to be Liverpool, fans' expectations. He must have been... Yeah, but I don't know, Keith. If that's the case, then I would walk now then. If it was me and you, Keith, and you said to me, like, Baz, you can do this, and this, I'll let you do it all, and I shake hands with you on a deal, and 6 weeks later, you're now saying to me, you can't do that, and if that's his decision and you can't do that, I'd just say, thanks very much, mate, get me severance pay sorted, and you leave, and it's football, you'll be in another job in 6 weeks. So... that's just my opinion. I could be wrong on that, but that's how I see it. So, yeah, there you go. Right, thank you very much to everyone who joined us. Thanks very much for people who've given the video a like. 500 of you watching and 164 likes, so thank you very much for that. 25 to go before we hit 53,000, so thanks for that. If you are a patron, we will see you later. There is going to be a video out on the electronic season ticket, how it's used. I was down there this morning with Ped testing it. That'll be out. It's only a short information video, not very long. Check that out. Check out the overlap fan debate. I had a good time there yesterday. Loads of fans. Roy Keane, Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher. Thought it was quite good. Some Josh off. Apparently he's been on Love Island. He did look like he'd been on Love Island. So check that out as well, and loads of other stuff. So thanks very much. Cheers for joining us. Appreciate it all. Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you later. Bye.